Mitrom and Bandhuvom, welcome to South Asia Maps, your education channel. This is your presenter, Dr. J. Reddy, and if you are new to my education channel, and you can go to South Asia Maps J. Reddy, and I have posted more than 300 and so 330 presentations and very diverse topics, and you can take a look at them. South Asia Maps J. Reddy. And today's the topic of discussion is human ecology and MIC, that is the military industrial complexes, that is industrialized societies in general. World produces every day 100 MBL, million barrels of oil, MBL, million barrels of oil per day. There are 10 countries on the planet Earth that produce around about 67% or let's say 70% or so by 2022. This is the important aspect. We look at what are those important countries and the easy way to comprehend them, and you can think about the consequences, the resource wars, oil wars, what goes beneath the outside the political social veneer. So this is a very, very important critical thing. This topic, this is the part 97 of our human ecology predicament series, and excuse me, this is the part 97. The world produces 100 million barrels per day. Previously, we looked at 100 million barrels a day. The humans are hunting and gathering every day, and how long it takes. This is the sequel, and we look at those countries where this oil is produced, and there are also other interesting presentations. So you can go and look at our ecology series in the playlist. 100 million barrels. Before, what is a barrel? People who are new, is a barrel is 158 liters. Most of the countries measure the oil like liters. A barrel contains, that is mostly used the United States, a barrel contains around about 4 liters or so. If you make a barrel, a gallon contains 4 liters, a barrel contains 42 liters. Gallons. A barrel contains 42 gallons. A gallon is 4 liters. So 4 liters and 40 will be 160. That will be around about 158 liters. That is the barrel oil. And so the 100 million barrels, this is the barrel. That is 42 gallons. That is around about 160 liters of oil. 100 millions every day is not a small thing. 100 million is the population of Egypt or Philippines, which are the top 12 countries on the planet Earth. What does it mean? If you put on the top of the head of every Egyptian adult and a baby, and they ask him to deliver oil today 100 million MBL, tomorrow 100 million, again tomorrow 100 million, just to run the normal life on the planet Earth, that's what it is. And what are the countries that produce this 100 million barrel of oil? They bring it to the market. That's what we are going to look at today, and very easy way to look at them. The top 10 countries produce the most of 70% of oil. How to remember them easily? I will give you certain of the ideas. Let's say the top 3 producers, you are aware, the United States, a big consumer as well as a producer, and Russia, and of course in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia. There are 15, 70, 11 and 12. So these numbers may vary sometimes. If you look at different sources, they may be. So just a broader idea. If you make about 13 each, an average, or 14, it will be around about 45 to 48 or so. That means you can round up almost 50. Half of the oil in the planet Earth is produced by these 3 countries. And The rest of the major producer, China consumes a lot, around about 10 units, that is MBL. It produces 5, and the remaining 5 producers are pretty close to Canada, and Brazil produces 3 point. Other major producers come from Middle East, that pretty close to 5. You can say around about 4. This is the Iraq, this is Persia, Iran, and Kuwait and United Arab Emirates, that is Dubai and all those, Dubai and Abu Dhabi, so on. So they are hover around 4. We can say Kuwait, this is hover around 4, and most of these together they produce around about 80-90% of the oil per day. And this is the exact numbers, you can look at it. So the top 10 producers, United States, Saudi Arabia, Russia, then we see the China and Canada, and in the Middle Eastern countries, Iraq, Iran, around about 3 or 4, and Brazil is also the good contributor, 3 point. We are talking about the producer, we are not talking about how much each nation consumes. That's a different story. We will look at some other time. Okay, the other countries, this is still a major producer. Take, for example, India produces 1 million barrel MBL, but it consumes around about 4 or 5. So it is a net oil importer. Even 1 million is considered 1 MBL is good. Indonesia used to produce a lot, now almost 1 billion. Oman. What is 1 million oil, 1 million barrel? Let's take Oman. You remember the Middle Eastern countries not shown here. Oman, that is the Muscat and all those regions, Salalah in the coast. 1 million barrel of oil means in 1970, during the time of Mrs. Indira Gandhi or President Nixon, the United States, entire African continent consumed less than 1 million barrels of oil. At that time, India also consumed around about 1 million barrel of oil. Today, India consumes around about 4 to 5 and so on. So the point is, even producing 1 million barrels of oil at that time was considered to be really a great contribution or bringing oil to the planet. That's what you just to keep in mind. Now that is not a very significant number, and here, excuse me, we are looking that every day we are consuming. That means we are producing 97 or 100 million MBL of oil every day. So this is a worldometer record. See how much oil we are consuming every day or producing, we can see here. Here we are in the Wikipedia, you say the top 5 oil producers. Again, the numbers may tally from the worldometers, and here the important point is, this is, we said around about 13 or 14. You can see the United States, the blue one, is around about 13 or 14 units. Russia almost the same. The next one is the Saudi Arabia, the red one. So these are the ones. Other important contributors of Iran and Iraq and Canada, and those important contributors. And these are the Wikipedia gives the top. You see 90 to 100 million barrels, like private producers and government-owned agencies like Saudi Aramco and Petrobras from Brazil and all so on. Just you can keep in mind. I got those statistics from this place, Worldometers, the same numbers. United States brings almost 15 units. We're talking about 100 units every day. And Saudi Arabia, 12, the Russia and China, Canada, Iraq. So these top 10 roundabout, they produce 70 or 80% of oil per day. That's very important because the oil production is the drawing down. The humans increase the carrying capacity of the planet Earth, taking over the land from the competitor, flora and fauna, and they increased further temporarily, that is phantom carrying capacity, by the drawing down of depleting temporary non-renewable resources, among which we are talking about oil today. Other non-renewables are the coal, natural gas, water aquifers, or minerals, metals, aluminium, and so on. That is the other way humans increase the carrying capacity. That taking over is the permanent increase in carrying capacity. This is the phantom or ghost carrying capacity, temporary increase in the carrying capacity. That's the wrong presentation. So Previously, what 100 million barrels we talked about, there used to be traditional hunters and gatherers. You see that icon, the gatherers gathering the berries. They used to go hunt and bring and the food for the families and the tribes and communities. The life was very hard. Invention of agriculture, horticulture, 8000 BC, that is 10,000 years back, become sedentary agricultural communities. Life become little more sedentary, more comfortable, more food in their house itself. Or now we again turned back, become hunters and gatherers. Here the car driver, here the professor in a university, and other industrial niche jobs working in the bank, at the schools. Most of these niches, modern niches, are niches based upon the hunters and gatherers, niches on the fossil fuel base. So again we reverted back ourselves into modern hunters and gatherers, hunting for 100 million barrels of oil today, tomorrow, day after tomorrow. That's the big dilemma we should keep in mind. That is the human predicament. Depleting resources, mostly we are talking about oil, every day depleting 100 million barrel in the world oil drum. And we'll very soon deplete it within 2 to 3 decades. That's what we'll do, because we have excess population today. Population redundancy or population surplus, 8 billions, 8,000 millions, 80 crores, all are very big aspirants for industrial, comfortable lifestyles and food and automobiles, modern gizmos. So the situation is really, really daunting if you start paying attention the ecological paradigm, that is the in converse to the traditional socio-political cornucopian paradigm. That is the important thing. In the previous part we looked at hunting for 100 MBL oil every day. Here you see the industrial hunter and gatherer. It can be a nation or oil producing company, Aramco or Petrobras and BPL and Dutch Shell and so on. So how long we can continue, that's a very, very important thing. We should be just wondering about that. And this some of the work comes from Overshoot book of Dr. Cotton and Bottleneck book. So that's about top 10 oil producers on the planet Earth. The most of the time you can remember United States, Russia and Saudi Arabia. The rest are China and Canada and Brazil. Most of other Gulf countries who hover around 4 MBL among 100. So these together, these 10 may produce around about 70 or 80% of oil. That's a very important thing. Lot of resource war, the political wars, events, the Gulf War, the war in Iraq, all are related with resources. Even though politically it given a different ideological veneer. Industrial societies need oil to just carry on their normal lives. If you cannot bring that 20 million barrels of oil that the United States consumes 18 or 1920, the life practically ends within couple of days. So that's why the industrial nations, they're involved in this resource war. So there are a lot of now the newly industrializing nations are entered into the field, and they're also competing with China and India and so on. So the socio-political events will become very complex in the coming years. So oil is the very important resource you have to remember. So hope that this will bring you an important aspect for my audience, and we'll see you in other presentations. And if you take some time and to subscribe and bring the channel to your friends' notice and put the comments, that will be really appreciated. See you later.